It is June 22nd, 2021, and we are on our way to make the kitchen cabinets, or countertops, or whatever you want to call them. So I just set up a couple of rollers and this universal tool bench from Central Machinery to put my table saw on top of. No real issues. The tool bench did say in the instructions to leave the screws loose till the end, and I didn't leave them loose enough, so I had to go back and undo everything. But you want a level table saw or miter saw or whatever you mount on a bench, and we did achieve level. So now I just have to put this table saw on top and I can start working on the kitchen counter. Well, I ran into my first problem. Here, I'll show y'all. I built my workbench and it works fine. And it has these, let's see, these holes where you can bolt in whatever tool or, plywood that you're gonna put on top. And I have this job site table saw, which works fine, and it has these holes right here in which you can bolt your tool in and out. And I have, luckily, the right size bolt. It's a 5/16, but it's not threaded all the way through, and it's actually a little too long. And so I need to go get a bolt that'll fit in there that's threaded all the way through, so I can secure this table saw on there so it doesn't move when I'm using it. And there is a hardware store that is 6 miles away, but since it's a small town, they close at 5 o'clock on the dot, and it's 4:56 when I'm recording this. So I have to go pick up the right bolts. I'm gonna have to do some alternate drilling. There's no hole here where I'm pointing. I need to drill a hole through there so I can bolt this in. But once I do, I'll have a nice sturdy table. But it means I have to delay everything till tomorrow. But I'll sort of give everybody a walkthrough, or y'all a walkthrough of how I'm gonna do this. I'm going to construct this using 4x4s for the legs and then a 4x4 runner across the entire thing, some 2x4s to provide additional support, and then I have these 2x10s and a 2x8, which are gonna form the countertop. And so I'm gonna make 4 separate sets of 2 legs connected with runners. That's gonna serve as the main structural support. And then that is gonna go in right here. This is, I think, 75 inches. I'll remeasure, but it's gonna be 75 inches long, running up into the fridge, going into the corner over there. And the sink is gonna be mounted in the middle of it. That leaves, it's a 30 inch, maybe a 36 inch sink. So that'll leave an additional 40 inches, so 2 feet almost on each side of countertop space. And then over here, I'm gonna have to run another countertop from what's left over there to the edge of the stove. And so like I said in an earlier video, not much counter space, but we'll make it work. Just not today. But we're getting there. The lumber cost me about 200 bucks, which isn't bad considering how ridiculous the prices have been. I got this table saw mainly for accuracy of cut, so I can get perfect straight lines and so I can rip some pieces easier. I actually did all the framing in this building with just this cheapo skill saw right here. Actually, this is the second one I used. I burned through the first one. It cost me about 20 bucks at Harbor Freight, and I burned through the motor, and so now I have to use the second one. And I use that skill saw for everything from cutting all the pieces for framing, all these little, any of these or these, and I used it for ripping all my plywood that I put on top of the ceiling joists, which was actually a ridiculously hard task to do by myself, to rip these ceiling joists. I even used it to make my first kitchen counter prototype, which isn't gonna work, but it's right here. Let's move it out from the other frame. But the sink fits perfectly in this opening. I did a good job with the skill saw. It's just this, it's only 3/4 of an inch thick. It's not sturdy enough. And it actually, I messed up and I let it sit after I glued it and unclamped it, and it warped. So now I'm just gonna go a little simpler and use those 2x10s and 2x8s and just make a pretty simple kitchen setup based on that. Anyways, it's the end of the day here. This was sort of my plan for today, and I messed it up. So return tomorrow, and hopefully we actually get some stuff done.